President Trump says that he is pausing some of the tariffs that took effect overnight. He announced a 90-day pause on most of his new tariffs and a lowering of the reciprocal tariff rate to 10% effective immediately. But he said China would not be included, raising tariffs on its exports to 125%. This after Beijing announced a new round of retaliation.
The U.S. stock market immediately soared, the Dow Jones surging up more than 2,000 points, ending the day dramatically up 2,900 after a week of volatility. The S&P 500 was up 474 points, the Nasdaq more than 1,800. Dick Brennan is here now to explain the impact and the fallout of the president's announcement.
Lots of fallout, Jessica and Christine. We can tell you the news of the pause brought relief to Wall Street, and now the White House says it was all part of a plan. But Democrats say that's nonsense and that the constant shifting is creating chaos. The 90-day pause to reciprocal tariffs comes after days of wild swings on Wall Street. The White House says as negotiations continue, the tariffs will be brought down to an across-the-board 10%.
I thought that people were jumping a little bit out of line. They were getting yippy, you know. They were getting a little bit yippy, a little bit afraid.
President Trump says he decided to make the shift because he had to be flexible.
I could say, here's a wall, and I'm going to go through that wall. I'm going to go through it no matter what. And keep going, and you can't go through the wall. Sometimes you have to be able to go under the wall, around the wall, or over the wall. But
the president again hiked tariffs on Chinese imports, pushing them to 125% after Beijing raised its retaliatory tariffs to 84%. Democrats blasted Trump's constant shifts on tariffs.
He's playing red light, green light with our economy. One day this, one day that. I have never seen such a chaotic administration action when it comes to something so vital and that affects everybody everywhere.
The White House says Trump was not influenced by the stock market's volatility, saying dozens of countries are now pushing for new trade negotiations, which was the president's strategy, they say, all along.
We have just been overwhelmed by the response from mostly our allies who want to come and negotiate in good faith.
Trump's announcement comes after the European Union hit back at the U.S. with new retaliatory tariffs on more than $20 billion worth of U.S. goods.
Donald Trump is feeling the heat from Democrats and across America about how bad these tariffs are. He is reeling, he is retreating, and that is a good thing.
Now, as for China, President Trump said he thinks China wants to make a deal, but that they don't know how. And he says, Christine and Jessica, he will tell them what he wants.
Oh, it's a major superpower. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Exactly.
He'll tell them what he wants.
We shall see.
All right. Thank you,
okay,
Dick.
Thank you.
Sounds like a duel.
Yeah.
Well, joining us now to talk about the impact on the stock market is David Lester. He's from DCL Capital. David, good to see you again. You know, some will say it was the bond market reaction that made this administration take this left turn today. But I'm curious, what's your main takeaway?
No, that's exactly right. Everyone's focusing on the stocks, and it was really a bond market story. This morning, really early, you could see futures going down as well as a sell-off in Treasury, and that is always a sign that there's something wrong, that the stock market is sick. It's like a fever when your kid is sick, you know that something's happening, and everyone believes that that's the reason that we're having this 90-day relief right now.
David, the market immediately rallied as we saw, but does that translate to consumer confidence? Let's be honest, the China component is still going to raise prices on many items that we buy and order and affect small businesses, right?
That's absolutely right. And there's a lot of countries that are still have these huge tariffs on them. So it's definitely, you can see these days going back and forth. They're up, they're down, they're up and down. And I think consumers are going to be nervous for the foreseeable future.
You know, on that note, I mean, once you get spooked, you're spooked. You can't forget it. So what do you think happens in this next 90 days, this pause, so to speak? And as investors, what should we be doing at that time?
Well, I think that this is going to go back and forth, and it is going to be really volatile. A great strategy, if you have a long horizon, is to buy, continuously, and you will buy as the market goes down, and then you'll be rewarded as it goes back up in the long term. But it's great to hold cash, be able to sit on cash and watch your pennies and dollars and pennies and cents, do some couponing, and just really, don't get scared. That's the one thing, is not to be scared. If you have a plan, then that'll give you a little bit of comfort resting at night.
Easier said than done. Don't get scared. But it is nice to hear from an expert. Thank you so much, David.
For the latest on the pauses on the reciprocal tariffs and also the latest from Wall Street, just head over to cbsnewyork.com.